Hi there, this is Alvin, and welcome to the Kickstart Commerce podcast, where we share search marketing and domain investing strategies to help grow your business. In today's episode, our guest is none other than Jay Paudyal, an India-based domain investor and serial entrepreneur, having founded a number of successful tech ventures, his most recent venture being urbanskill.com, a digital learning platform devoted to excellence in providing skill-based education incorporated with both research and innovation to fulfill the long-term career objective of learning enthusiasts who aspire to make a difference. Today, Jay and I discuss how he stumbled upon domain investing in the late 90s. Jay also shares a few domain sales, as well as we take a little peek at his investing strategy. We also talk a bit about entrepreneurship. And then last but not least, Jay shares how urbanskill.com advocates and empowers the next generation of digital marketers and domain investors. So with that, Jay, welcome, and thank you for making time to join us today.
Yeah, hi. Thank you so much, Alvin, for having me. Love to
Yeah,
be part of your show, and I have listened to a couple of podcasts. They were amazing, actually.
thank you. Well, thank you. Well, it's certainly a pleasure to have you here. Now you're based in India, right?
Yes, yes.
Interesting. So I guess to kick things off, Jay, let's share with the listeners just a bit about yourself at a high level, who you are, your professional and personal background.
Yeah, hi, listeners. My name is Jay Paudyal. I'm from New Delhi, India, and I'm enjoying my 40s actually. And as far as my background is concerned, like I'm kind of drop out of high school. But somehow I managed to, complete my post graduation. In the late 30s actually. Professionally, I have started as a service provider for hardware and networking in 1998 or 1999. Then later we started providing, website development and web application development services in way back in 2000 actually. When Y2K issue was there that time, and that time we used to develop web apps in Perl language and HTML, and later we started developing softwares, desktop application using Visual Basic. Then later we adapted .NET and other frameworks. So I still remember those times when we used to develop websites, wireless application protocol, websites for mobile devices
Wow.
in 2005, I guess. And I still remember how we sold .mobi names in that time actually, just for mobile website actually.
You've seen a lot. So kind of help me understand then a little bit, because you mentioned there early on, just in terms of your upbringing, you said that you dropped out of high school. Now, give our listeners just a bit of what your day-to-day life is like in just growing up based in India.
My day-to-day life was in school time. I used to, go to school, and sometimes I used to bunk school actually. I used to play video games in game parlor, right? But like I never understood like why they are teaching me history, why they are teaching me maths other than, just simple multiplication and addition, right? I was a bit confused then, like I used to say like why they are giving me language lesson which I already know, right? So like I'm kind of, school bunker, you can say. I hardly go to school. Then after 10th class, I dropped out, and I started something, career wise. I started doing some jobs for teaching, for training. I used to teach programming languages in 1998 actually, like COBOL was there, DBase was there that time, C, C++. So those were the times.
Interesting. So were you self-taught in terms of your programming and scripting and coding?
I mean, that time I used to, read books. I mean, internet was not there. Internet was not so common there, and it was costly affair then. And
Right.
there were no good sites like today. We have so many websites using which you can learn. I mean, Udemy is there, and there are some other providers as well. And that time, I still remember I used to buy books to learn programming, to learn Photoshop even. Can you imagine? I mean, to learn Photoshop, to create a design. I mean, I used to learn from books. So, I mean, I think I did computer course for to learn DOS and to learn MS Office back then. When I think I used to run Windows 3.1 that time. So I learned Windows and DOS and MS Office from an institute. After that, like I learned from books, and later I learned from internet. Still, I learned so many things, so many, technology we learn through internet actually.
So then you teaching yourself to code, now that led to you actually starting I guess a business that was based upon building websites, right?
Exactly. For that, I have to learn code to, feed my stomach actually.
Now, before we got on the call, you mentioned there were two things that you will not compromise on. Now, can you tell our listeners what those two things are?
Tasty food, delicious food, and sleep. I love to sleep actually. That's why I'm not proactive in domaining because I don't like to be, sleep. Awake myself whole night. Rather, I buy domains, good domains from my fellow domainers. Right? See, I'm happy to give them 40%, 50%, or even 100% profit for my sleep actually, right? Because see, Alvin, to search a domain, there is huge research is required. You have to
Right.
apply your brain. You have to awake whole night. Sometimes you lose auction. Sometimes you win. Sometimes you end up paying high. Okay, so I don't want to, throw into those kind of emotional barrier actually. So I love to buy domains from my fellow domainers for high price. See, if I am selling to an end user, it hardly matters. I buy a domain for $100, $20, or even $1,000. If I know I can sell for, sell in five figure or four high figure.
Interesting. So now, how did you? I guess so. You're doing the websites. You're finding success there. But how did that lead? Like, when did the light bulb go off to say, "Hey, wait, I could actually be selling these instead of selling websites, selling domains"?
Yeah, I think I sold my domains, first domains in I think 2002 or 2003. I don't remember because selling domain or selling site was not unique for me that time because I was already into development. Sometime client used to ask, "Hey, I wanted to buy a domain," and surprisingly, they used to come up with such a bad name uh, like see, suppose I'm developing a website for web development company. I mean, they come up with, "Hey Jay, I want this domain." I used to ask which domain. They used to say webdevelopmentindia.com. Then I used to say, when webdevelopment.com is already available, then why you are looking for web development India?
Right.
I mean, they used to come up with bad domains actually. So I felt that time. I mean, they business in that time, they need guidance. They need some kind of consultancy. Like, what is having, what is the benefit of having a nice brand name, nice website name, because they used to advertise on radio, advertise on newspaper, they used to advertise on billboard. So they need a good domain name. So then I developed some ideas like why can't I provide consultancy to these businesses actually. So I mean that was my initial days of domain investing, and that time I didn't hear this word, that domain aftermarket.
Right.
I I didn't know that time. I mean, there could be any website, any after marketplace for domain name actually in early days.
So while it was, I guess, in its infancy, I mean, it really in its infancy, it was there, but you didn't really know anything about it. But you took to programming, which then led to you basically getting into really branding and consultancy. And so now, do you still own some of those, I guess, first names that you invested in or purchased, like
Yeah,
back in the early 2000s?
yeah. I still remember my first domain was itgmindia.com, and I was so excited, that time, like I'm about to have a domain name, you know. In it's in, I think, late 2000,
Mm.
right? So I was about to book my domain name. I still remember provider was Network Solution that time, and I think I paid 70 or $75 for one domain for 2 years, right? And I wrote a check for that domain, and I filled a paper form for who is records actually.
Wow.
Right. So that was my first domain, and I dropped that domain, I think, 4 years later because, after 2, 3 years, I realized, like, I mean, why I booked this domain. It was ITGM India. In that time,
So wait a minute. You
I
said it was what was it?
IT IT
I T
GM
I T
GM
I T G M.
Yes. See, that time I thought abbreviation of something like Information Technology Giant Makers India.com. Okay.
Huh.
I plan to develop a forum of IT enthusiasts then in 2000, right? Then I tried to code, I tried to put some HTML on that, some forum on that. Then I realized, at first I have to work for clients actually who pays me. Then I dropped idea of developing forum that time, and later I realized, itgmindia.com was not the perfect one for that, and still this domain is still free, still available to book. Okay, and my second domain was marymehfil.com, which means my poetry forum. I used to write poetry, so I thought, why not develop some sites where I can write my poetry, and where can uh, I can invite some other writers to write their poetries, I think. And I booked this domain in 2001, and date was 14th August. And today, 20th birthday of that particular domain, which I still have a developed website of poetry, Hindi poetry actually.
Really? So is that something that you do in your spare time still today?
Yeah,
So you find yourself. So how often do you write poetry?
I mean, in weekends I write some lines, or in a month I write some lines. See, sometimes you get emotional,
Yeah.
sometimes you get setback, or sometimes you get, happiness kind of thing. Then you always, if you have, sense of writing, you always love to write something, some piece of, some lines or whatever. I used to write on my mobile, in my, notes. Then I used to store them.
Awesome. So tell me a little bit now. I think you also own India is Great, right?
Yes, indiaisgreat.com. I think it was my third domain, I guess, third or fourth domain. I still own that domain. That domain I booked in 2002, I guess. I wanted to develop a website where I can portray the, uniqueness of India, like food, like traveling, but by but I, didn't get time to build that website. So I still have that domain. I mean, there are some domain which I still own actually.
Wow. So some of those domains then are what, at least 20 years old now, right?
Yes, yes. The oldest domain I have is which I bought from Domain Aftermarket from a fellow domainer. It is fchoice.com and it was registered in 1996 actually.
Fchoice.com.
Yes, I wanted to develop, some fashion store on that particular site with some app where user can fill their info like their skin color, their height, and based on that website can suggest them with fashionable dresses, fashionable range of garments, clothing.
Right.
But I didn't get time actually. Actually, see, uh, I mean, from my portfolio, I have more than 50 developed website right now.
Really?
Alvin, I cannot develop all actually.
Wow.
No one can. So I still own more than 50 developed website out of my entire domain portfolio, and that is good, I think.
Yeah, and so how large is your domain portfolio today?
See, today I think I have less than 500 domains, maybe 450 domains like that.
Okay. Okay. Now, do you do any I mean, I know that you have your hands tied in terms of you're busy, you're quite involved in your ventures. Now, do you do any outbound or is it mostly
No, no, no.
inbound?
I never did outbound. Actually, I hardly get time for these things, right? So, see, I sold, I mean, 95% of my domain to those businesses, those individuals whom I used to give consultancy actually. Suppose I found a business by name paramountcoachingindia.com or paramountcoaching.com, then I used to acquire paramount.com and and I used to sell that domain for to those guys.
Mm,
That was easier for me. I mean, I used to convince them like why this shorter name would be beneficial for you, and how you are going to save a lot of money in your ad spend and your branding actually. So that part was beneficial for me, and my conversion was 90%, Alvin, which is not possible in outbound or inbound per se.
exactly. That is amazing, Jay.
So someday, if whenever I feel like starting outbounding, I will try my hands or I will burn my hands on it. I mean, there is no harm in trying if it works, and it is working for many domainers actually.
Right. Yeah. I mean, there have been a few interviews that I've had that many domain investors are outbounding. It hadn't worked out for me, so that's not to say that it can't. But it is a avenue that if you are domain investing and you want to sell some of your domains, you certainly can try your hand at outbound investing. Now, Jay, in terms of one of the things that I certainly want to kind of get a little visibility to or give visibility to rather is obviously in terms of the domain industry we have different domain conferences. There was Domain Fest, there's NamesCon, there was Traffic at one point, there was Merge at one point. Now kind of help our listeners understand now in terms of India in just the
Uh-huh.
domain market that's there, what
Uh-huh.
types of conferences are available? I believe there was like a Domain X at one point, but are there any other conferences to know about?
Yes, yes. In India, like I used to attend couple of conferences. Gambit was there, I think, for 1 or 2 year Gambit. And there was HDCon also, hosting and domain conference. And of course, NamesCon India was also there that time, and DomainX was also there. And we have also started doing domain conferences in way back in 2010. And later we did domain conference in 2018 by the name of Indian Domain Summit. It's
Wow.
been 3 years, I guess. I still remember in February 2010, we did a domain name conference in New Delhi where we invited, I think, approx 8,200 people from various verticals, various businesses. And I mean, no domainer was there in that conference. Can you believe?
Really?
Yes,
And why do you think
because
that was?
this domaining was not so prominent that time actually. I think, and we advertise on I think Google, and we sent some newsletter to some companies. So we basically we invited end user to make them understand like how you can invest in domain name and what kind of TLDs are good for investment or for end use. And we did a small auction also there, and we still have video and photograph of that event. It's been 10 years, I guess. Yeah, it's been
In-
more than 10 years. So
Interesting.
I still have those slides which we used to do conference. And we, these days we are also doing, uh, for urban skill, it's been I think 5 years, right? And we still play those slides because concept is same. .com was king back then. .com is king right now. So concept is almost same. So nothing has changed except, I mean, there is a lot of awareness of premium domains. Now end user knows like there are premium domains. Now they don't say, hey, don't blackmail me, you
Gotcha.
know, to
Yeah.
sell me domain name. So it's a proper business now. It's so prominent and so much awareness is there. I mean, it's really, good to see so much awareness around the world actually.
So then, Jay, now are you, because you seem to have a pretty good pulse, especially through Urban Skill, of just the growing number of domain investors there in India. I mean, talk a little bit about that in terms of what type of growth your India is witnessing in terms of the next generation of domain investors.
See, in India, I mean, I have attended NamesCon in Vegas in 2018. So in 2018, I have seen, I mean, couple of dozens domainers from India actually, and that was good sign. I mean, there are a couple of domainer who used to sell, domains for 100K, 500K, 150K. So tremendous. I mean, growth was tremendous then. I mean, I know couple of good domainers from India like Deepak Daftari, Manish Lunja is there, Ashwin Vikhona is there. I mean, these guys used to hold core.net, MAQ.com, co-founder.com, majesty.com, parasite.com. I mean, these are amazing names to have actually. So, I mean, and in urban skill, I mean, I think in the last 4 months, we taught domaining more than 600 guys. We
Wow.
produced 600 newbies, and couple of guys are pursuing this profession very seriously. I mean, they acquired couple of good domains from GoDaddy, Closeout, from Namejet. They bought couple of good domain, and I know they got good sense of feeling like what is a good brand name, what is word rhyming, what is a radio test, what are a bad domain, what are good domain, what are not so good domain, and what are category killers. I mean, I think, organization like us or conferences which are going around, they should go to more and more cities to teach about this profession. I mean, you very well know what is the beauty of this profession. You don't need office. You don't need, fancy things. Sometimes you don't need staff even.
Right.
You
Right.
can start yourself. And believe me, in domaining, learning curve is so short. And we run a domaining course that includes 5 webinars of and we run total 15 hours of content to teach domaining. And after that we nourish them. We have Telegram group, we have WhatsApp group. We nourish them, we help them with the whole process of domaining journey.
So now, is that 15 hours of content? Is that free content or is that paid content?
It's a free content, and we also record our webinar and post it onto our YouTube channel. We provide free course. It's been, I think, 5 years. We never charge anybody for the course. It's been 5 months. We are doing webinar. Earlier, we used to have physical meetups or workshop in our own office. We had a hall capacity of 50 to 60 guys. So in this pandemic we are doing webinars, and we are very happy with this, because in webinars people can join from any place, any time. Okay, there is no traveling burden. You don't need to come or go somewhere, right? So it's very easy, and learning curve is same on for online and for offline.
Right now, I guess and to kind of dive into the content here. So I'm imagining then some of this content is probably how-to content, and then some of it is likely interview-based content to where you're interviewing someone else.
No, we sometimes we interview aspiring domainers or star domainers. Sometimes we do that for our attendees, so that they can learn how they started. What kind of challenge they faced, and in beginning, what wrong they did, what good they did, how they survived by not selling domain name. So for sake of teaching someone, for sake of coaching someone, training someone, we do such interviews. Otherwise our content is purely based on, you can say, curriculum wise. We have first webinar is about introduction to domain aftermarket and finding good domains. Second is about listing domains. Third is about how to sell your domain, how to outbound. There are what kind of tools are there. We do lot of things. We do practically. We teach them with the domain outbound tool, email marketing tool, email fetcher tool. There are so many things to learn actually.
Right. No, that makes sense. That's awesome, and it's something that you provide for free. Now, Jay, obviously, I know listeners are probably like, "Now, wait, how in the world is Jay able to do urbanskill.com and be able to provide it for free?" Like,
See, since I have just told you, I myself learned from books. Can you imagine? It is so hard to learn from book. Learn Photoshop from book, and you cannot practice at home, because I didn't have computer that time. Okay, I used to go to institute and do practice while teaching my student. So I have faced some challenges, right?
right.
So I know, see, for my bread and butter, for my traveling thing, for luxury thing in life, I run couple of e-commerce portal, I run couple of blogs, I run software company. We have SaaS based software company also. From those ventures we earn, and we this way we give back to the community actually, so that people can learn for free. And see, it's not teaching them for free. Okay, there are so many websites. There could be so many no-profit company which provide education for free. But in our case, we provide free content, but damn good content, but practical content, and we have panel of experts, panel of experienced experts who work for industry for more than decade, more than 2 decades actually. I mean, we are not doing like just for sake of providing free education. You can see our course content. It's not easy to build course content overnight actually.
Right.
You have to brainstorm with team, and we have such a good team. So
Yeah, and I love that because and the thing that I truly love about it is that you're building it within the context of your culture. So you're able to meet the needs of your people that are there, helping them to, to actually rise above the challenges that they face. That's awesome. Now, Jay, yeah, now you also have another one, and this is one that I had stumbled upon and it really piqued my interest when I even saw it. But Ledger.io, like, what is the backstory to that domain and business?
see, in way back with my partner, I booked couple of .io back then. I think it's been 9 or 10 years ago. And we used to book domains for own development, right? So somehow we managed to develop expense management tool on ledger.io. Apart from that, we also own livechat.io. I hope it's a good one. So in livechat.io, we are also planning to develop, some tools. I mean, some chat tools, and we might do some good business on those domains. And yes, of course, if we get good offers on those domains, we might sell. Who knows? And I also get couple of good offers on those domains, which somehow we rejected. I mean, see, I think everything can be sold apart from emotion if you price right and if you hit us in right time actually.
Right, right. So, Jay, then tell me this. So, in terms of I've seen that you've developed on some.com, you're developing on some.o. Like, what is your strategy or what is your thought process behind when it comes to development? Like, should a person really just solely focus on developing on a .com, or can really any extension be developed into a profitable business?
See, as far as TLD is concerned, right. If we talk about based on Google algorithm, okay, Google loves any TLD actually. They are not biased towards such TLDs. I mean, it's user who are biased actually. Okay, when I Google stylish shoes store in India, and when I click, search button, then obviously there can be site like sstindia.com and stylishshoes.com, and there could be stylishshoes.net. Okay, and it's user who will open .com version. It's user who love to find their search keywords in a particular domain because somehow they feel so much relevancy is there. Okay, so I mean, based on my experience, based on my own experience and practical fundamental, I love to develop .coms, and .com with good keywords should be developed. And if you have brandable name, don't develop, just create a good logo and put some information on that. And apart from that, if you have good domain like I have India's great.com, I should develop .com. Apart from that, I have Ayurvedic mantra.com. On that domain, I run information website based on Ayurved. Apart from that, I have few astrological domains like Aries horoscope.in, Libra horoscope.in. I mean, all the 12 horoscope sign I have developed sites for those domains. And I also run couple of serious venture on this niche. So I know somehow I'm building, network of some good sites. I'm not spamming, right? And I'm not doing some grey marketing thing. I'm developing site with good content, with unique content, and running couple of websites. And also I in past I ran couple of AdSense, couple of affiliate links on site. So develop site with good keyword. If you able to do basic SEO, okay, it can rank with time.
Right. And that's what I think a lot of times, especially domain developers miss is that I think a lot of people are so quick to make a fast dollar or to earn a quick buck that they don't necessarily really take the time, and domain development takes a lot of time.
Either you can be domain trader, or either you can be domain investor. Okay. And if you are investing in such assets, you should always enhance the value of that asset. Suppose if I buy a piece of land in good posh or good prime area, then I love to develop some buildings on that piece of land. I will build some buildings with good furniture, some fancy stuffs. I will apply those things because I know if I am investing in something, I should hold it for long. Okay. And you can always mix these two things. You can be domain trader as well, and you can be domain investor as well. And out of your total portfolio, you should really invest on 20 to 30% domain. You should hold it for long. You should develop that website. And see, for website development, there is hardly no cost. Actually, WordPress platform is free, and you can use Google Site tool, or you can buy a small hosting plan from any hosting company per se. Just install WordPress and get ready. I mean, there's no harm in. I mean, there are so many tools which provide a good logo for you free. You can use tool like Feed Grabber to feed some content on your website, and or get it right from some freelance writer or so.
Right. Now, once you get your site set up and you already have your content on there, then how do you go about monetizing it? I mean, obviously, once it ranks.
See, we monetize with the AdSense, Google AdSense, and apart from that, sometimes we run couple of affiliate things, and we also do in couple of sites lead generation. And sometime if I see that particular domain is growing, we then we will adopt that domain and convert it into serious business by starting some e-commerce portal, by providing our visitor with some serious products. And we run couple of those kind of websites as well, actually, and in which we turned a domain into serious business.
Now, how long does it take for, let's just say you launch a site? How long does it take for you to figure out whether or not it's a serious business? Are we talking sometimes months, or are we talking like, hey, 2 or 3 years?
See, sometime it takes 6 to 8 months, and sometime we hardly get to analyze a domain. Sometime after 2 or 3 years, we feel, we are getting good traffic on this domain, which we made a blog. So now we can start a product based e-commerce site based on that blog. Suppose we wrote a content on some healing stone, like any gemstone, you can say ruby per se.
Right.
right? If we are getting traffic on Ruby, then we start selling rubies on that website. We start selling some other, zodiac stone, some other stone on that particular site actually. And we run couple of website. I mean those sites are good businesses from where I earn and give back to the community through urban skill actually.
Awesome. So then out of the 50 or so domains that you have developed, I mean, like what type of revenue are we looking at just, all sites cumulative together or how much does an average site bring in on a monthly basis?
I think, see, if we run Google AdSense, I mean, we used to enjoy, I think, $350 a day from a website, from a job portal. Okay, and it's, I think, way back in, I think, 5 6 years ago. Okay, and right now AdSense revenues are down, and right now we are also not interested in AdSense revenue. Rather, we pick some good websites and convert it into e-commerce portal, and after converting, sometime we sell also to serious client who wants to run their e-commerce website. Hey, suppose you want to start a travel website. What if I give you a website which is already having 10,000 visitors a month? It's a good to go. You don't need to waste uh, uh, a precious 1 2 years to rank your website, to make a brand. Like I have holidayon.com, I might build holidayon.com with travel content, and I might sell this website to someone who wants to venture into travel business, in holiday package business, and holidayon.com is a good brand, good domain.
Right. So then how does one go about or how do you all go about finding so I'm assuming that you're going out to find dormant sites in a certain industry, and then you likely approach that buyer to buy it.
Yes.
And then once you buy it, then you're basically able to likely either make updates to it and then sell it to the next buyer.
Right, exactly. See, it's very, kind of rules or mandatory to play around your niche.
Right.
I mean, for the niche which you have knowledge for. Okay, if somebody is dentist, or somebody is from pharmaceutical company, they should build their portfolio around dental surgery, or around dental business, or around pharmaceutical business, because they know their vertical well, they know what kind of keywords can pay well, they know what kind of machinery, what kind of tools has have good profit in it.
Right.
Right. So I basically, I mean, do domaining or build site around 4 or 5 niches only, like spirituality, e-commerce, health, education, finance, software tools. So these are my fixed niche, right? So I or someone from my team can attend some conferences to learn, to network with other participant, and we used to visit booth of businesses, and we used to say, hey, you are running your good business on bad domain, why don't you buy this domain? See, if you are selling a vodka bottle for $1,000, I should sell a domain to you for $5,000, because it's just 5 bottle of vodkas for you.
Right. Right.
Right. So we follow this strategy, and I know, I mean, everyone cannot, follow this strategy. It worked for us because we were into development business. I used to attend so many conferences, and I myself learned so many things, like how to, identify what good gemstone is. I mean, what is spirituality? I learned astrology, I run, so many things, right? So that I can build some tools, I can build some software, I can book some, of course, some good domain names.
That's awesome. Now, and you hit on something there in terms of building tools. How lucrative of a business is that?
I still remember, I mean, I think in 2009, I booked the one domain, jaypaudyal.tel. I think way back in 2019, and .tel is UK based registry actually. So the benefit of .tel was in that time. I mean, you don't need web hosting to host .tel, because I mean, .tel used to put its content from DNS zone entries actually, and you can build a small portfolio of yours, whether you are lawyer or doctor or software engineers. You can have two, three page of websites just for $10, and it was SEO optimized domain that time. And I still remember I built a domain tool that time called telimg.com. I mean, see, in this particular extension, there is no way to host image on it, because in DNS you cannot store images. You can just store ASCII text. So we developed TelIMG tool in 2009 or 10, I think, or 2008. I don't remember exact date. So that tool still we are running. We that time we hope to sell that tool to some big company actually, but this particular TLD didn't go well. I mean,
Right.
so but that tool is still running. I mean, there, there might be less marketing, there might be less interest from founders. I don't know the exact reason behind that, but in $10 you can have a SEO schema website. If you are a lawyer, if you are a doctor, what you need just one image and your services, your portfolio. That's all. And I still have jaypaudyal.tel. I mean, it's
And what
not
was the name
hosted.
again?
Jaypaudyal.tel, my name dot tel, TEL.
Ah, okay, okay, yeah.
And in TL, they have good interface, and in which you can put your data and your sites automatically can be built without hosting.
Without
What
hosting.
else you need? Yes. And see, there are so many professionals, so many people who run just 3 or 4, 5 pages websites entire life, and spend couple of $100 a year.
That's interesting because I have automaticpassword.com. That
Oh,
is just a simple online tool that you could go there, you select a couple of things, and
mm,
it'll basically produce a password for you, a strong
oh,
password rather.
okay.
And so it makes me think about things like those little tools like that, or batsonaustin.com, that is just it's more of a tourist site
Mm,
in terms of helping people to find where to go view. And so it makes me think about, just when you say building some of the tools, is that you're building tools that people use and will likely share with other people, which then
yes.
I guess builds momentum, builds your site traffic, and then likely either using Google AdSense, or like you said, you sell the site or sell the tool, then you're able to actually produce revenue from that site development.
Yes.
That is awesome. So then, Jay, like, where do you see things going for yourself? Like, when you look into the future as a domain investor, as a domain developer, where do you see yourself going?
See, as a domain developer, like we are still developing websites. We run couple of news portal in India, and we are still on, on the track of developing and improving some websites, and we are still on track to convert some good websites into e-commerce. Okay, so I mean, as far as future is concerned, I see myself where I have more than 100 running websites. that are fetching some revenue from it. And we are also planning to develop some tools for domainers actually. Okay, since I'm into domaining since long, and we know in and out of domaining, we know what kind of tools are there. Right. So we are seriously thinking to developing some tools, and using which tools we I mean want to help our students actually, our attendees actually. And we are definitely planning to give those tools for free. Okay, so that they can develop, some things.
That is great. Now, where do you see the industry headed in terms of, especially like the domain market there in India, in terms of the investors and just where you see things are going? Is it more growth or is it decline, or what are you seeing?
See, I have seen quite increase numbers in terms of domainers, in terms of awareness, in terms of, attendance at the domain conferences. And we have also witnessed a good number of attendance in our webinar itself. As I told you, in the last four months, I think we have been able to train more than 600 people, and we provided more than 600 certificates to them. Ki, hey, you are now certified domainer by Urban Skill, because we ran 15 hours good content for them, and we still nurturing them with great community support of domaining experts through various Telegram and WhatsApp groups actually.
And then out of that, now I know that we talked about, you had said you saw growth of like 600. Now, one of those things, obviously, when I think about just the inclusivity of the domain industry in and of itself is predominantly male. Now, are you seeing more females also come into domain investing there in India?
Yes, I know. Till date, I know couple of females. I think two or three. I always ask them, why they are not, more females there in domaining. and
Right.
and 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 they should come, they should come, because the beauty of this domaining, they should enjoy working from home, working from any place, and there is so much freedom in this business actually. And we will definitely see more numbers in female domainers, women domainers. And just for your information, and we NamesCon Global is happening in September, and we are organizing NamesCon Asia. Urban Skill is content partner of NamesCon for Asia region, right? So we are having a special panel for with title Women in Domaining, and
Oh, great.
where we will invite, three or four women domainers from India, where they can tell their story, and what kind of benefits they get, who aspire or inspire them to come into this business. And obviously, I want more and more women to get inspired by them. So we are hosting a special session on women domainers.
That is awesome. Yeah, because that's one of the things that I've definitely been seeing more and more happen, is that I've been pinged on LinkedIn by a number of women in domaining, even inside and outside of India. So just around the globe, and it's always encouraging to me to see more women getting involved in domain investing.
Exactly.
Awesome. Well, then, Jay, to wrap things up here, what would be your advice to someone who's wanting to get starting in domain investing or even development? Like, where should they begin?
See, like, my advice would be, don't get into domaining. Do not create competition for us.
Wait, hold on,
Just
hold on.
just kidding, man. Just kidding. I mean, we are on the path to create domainers in at urban scale. So see, my idea would be learn first, then dive into domaining. Okay, and the beauty of domaining is learning curve is so short, and you can even learn from watching couple of videos. Okay, and watching video and taking lessons from us, you should practice. Okay, like and how can you practice without investing a penny? Just go to expireddomains.net. Just go to GoDaddy closeout auction, download domain investor app, and see what kind of domains are going for. What kind of price? Just see couple of auction. Just take feel of that auction. Okay, and you should always narrow your niche. Just because if you are starting for finance niche, you have to learn couple of keywords, you have to learn couple of verticals. So you should narrow your niche and don't be a squatter or blackmailer in this domaining. Okay, don't play upon someone's trademark. Okay, and last, don't get into trap.
Yeah.
What are the traps? What are the traps? I will explain you. First trap is domainers Facebook wall, their Twitter handle, where they say I sold this particular domain for $20,000, for $30,000, because newbies don't know. They might have bought that domain for $15,000, which they are selling for $20,000, and sometimes they used to think that could be a $10 domain. It is
Right.
not. Okay, and there could be many domains which never sell actually. And second trap is domain appraisal tools. I mean, those tools can mislead newbies actually. Okay, for a damn bad domain, that tool can show $500,
Right.
and he might invest $10 to earn 500 or even $100, and that domain won't sell, and he or she end up saying this domaining is bad, right? Right. So yes, those tools are good when you learn how to appraise a domain, when you have experience. Those appraisal tools can be good assistant for you. Okay, and see, there are seven deadly sins, and in domaining there are a couple of sins like greed, ego, sloth, anger. I mean, you should not have that. If you are earning good number of dollars in one domain, sell it. Don't ask for unreasonable price, and cover your sin of greed, anger, sloth with gratitude, patience, diligence. Don't be lazy. I mean, just book your domain and list it. And see what I say. Sometimes people ask me how much I should invest. Then I say just even buying one or two domains are enough to be a domainer, enough to start. Just buy one or two good domains and start Outbound. This way you will learn so many things. This way at least you can also learn this domain is bad. Okay, and take it as serious business. Domaining is serious business like other business. It also requires some level of professionalism, ethics, and planning, etc. So a beginner should start this way. Learning is very important. Having experience is very important actually.
Now, those are great tips. Those are great tips to definitely enter into domain investing, as well as to guide one into domain investing. And so, Jay, last but not least, is there anything else that you'd like to share with listeners? I mean, how people can get involved with Urban Skill, or how they might be able to contact you?
Yeah, to check out Urban Skill, you can just open urbanskill.com, and if you want to connect, just Google my name, Jay Paudyal, and you'll definitely find a bearded, untidy looking man. And by clicking some links, you can reach out to my website, jaypaudyal.tel, and I'm on Facebook, I'm on LinkedIn. You can search me easily. And last but not the least, don't fall into the trap. Don't fall into the trap. It's a domaining rap. That's all from me, actually.
Indeed. And with that, we're out of time. So, Jay, thank you again for joining us today, for sharing your experience and journey, as well as just your invaluable insight for domain investing and domain development.
Thank you so much for having me, Alvin. Thank you so much.
Certainly, and we'll get you back on the show, hopefully here in the future. And thank you, listeners, for tuning in to Kickstart Commerce, where we share search marketing and domain name investing strategies to help grow your business. Please subscribe to this podcast via iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, or Podbean. Last but not least, please visit kickstartcommerce.com to subscribe to the weekly newsletter sharing tips and tricks about the disciplines of digital strategy. Thanks, and that's all for now.